Welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to look at databases a little differently. We are doing a deep dive into the highly efficient, very deliberate architectural secrets of Redis. We're going to look under the hood and really discover the systems engineering that makes it all possible.
100,000 plus operations per second. Think about that for a second. And it does this using exactly one thread for command execution. You know, in an era where we are completely obsessed with multi-core processors and parallel computing, Redis achieves this brutal, world-class efficiency without any of the usual multi-threaded chaos. No locks, no race conditions, just pure, unadulterated speed.
Which naturally leads us to the central mystery of this whole explainer, right? How does one single thread handle thousands of concurrent clients without just locking up or becoming a massive bottleneck? Like, how does it avoid freezing while it's waiting for a network request? Well, the answer isn't magic, and it's not just because it runs in memory. It comes down entirely to brilliant systems architecture.
To solve that mystery, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the single-threaded secret, then look at smart memory and SDS. Next up is skiplists, followed by the operating system trap, how to scale out with Redis Cluster, and finally, how to master Redis by avoiding some really common mistakes.
All right, part 1, the single-threaded secret. Why drop threads in the first place?
So traditional databases generally use a thread per connection model. A client connects, a thread gets assigned, and then it often just sits there, blocked, waiting for network data. This creates massive CPU overhead because of constant context switching. Redis fixed this completely with I/O multiplexing. Instead of checking every connection manually, that single Redis thread delegates the monitoring to the operating system using highly efficient tools like epoll on Linux or KQ on Mac. The OS essentially taps Redis on the shoulder and says, hey, these specific sockets have data ready to read right now. And then the single thread just processes them sequentially. No waiting, no locks, zero wasted CPU cycles.
But as networks got faster, we're talking 10 to 100 gigabits, the actual reading and parsing of that network data became the bottleneck. So in version 6, Redis introduced a hybrid model. Think of it kind of like a braided rope. Background I/O threads read the raw data and parse the commands in parallel. But, and this is absolutely crucial, they hand those parse commands to the single main thread which executes them sequentially and atomically. Once that's done, the background threads step back in to write the responses. So you get that multi-threaded network speed, but you still maintain the safety of a single-threaded database.
Moving right along to Section 2, Smart Memory, and how SDS plays a huge role in saving memory.
When you are an in-memory database, every single byte matters. Literally. Now, Redis is written in C, but native C strings are actually terrible for databases. They rely on a null character at the very end to know when they stop. So to find the length of a C string, you literally have to scan the entire thing. It's slow, order n time. Plus, you can't even store binary data because a null byte would just truncate it. So Redis replaces this entirely with SDS, simple dynamic strings. SDS stores the length explicitly. Finding the length is instant, order one time. It's binary safe, meaning you can safely store images or serialized payloads, and it uses smart pre-allocation to stop buffer overflows. It's a tiny optimization on paper, but the impact is massive for performance and memory efficiency.
But here is the absolute genius mechanism behind SDS to optimize data storage. Redis doesn't just slap one standard, one-size-fits-all header onto every string. No, it actively inspects the length of the string you're saving and dynamically chooses between 5 different header sizes. If you've got a tiny string, say under 32 bytes, it uses SDHR15, which adds exactly 1 byte of overhead. For longer strings, it scales up only as much as absolutely necessary. And it gets better. For strings 44 bytes or less, Redis uses this embedded string trick. It allocates the metadata and the actual string in one single contiguous memory block. This drastically cuts down on memory fragmentation and massively improves your CPU cache locality. It is honestly a masterclass in memory optimization.
Okay, part 3, Skiplist, or what I like to call the express lane. This right here is the magic under the hood of sorted sets, which you probably know are used for leaderboards and schedulers. A sorted set has to keep elements in order and find them incredibly fast. Now, a textbook will usually tell you to use a balanced binary tree for this, but Redis, it uses a skip list. Why? Well, a skip list is basically a linked list with multi-level express lanes built entirely on probabilistic coin flips. It's so much simpler to implement because you avoid all those complex, heavy tree rotations every single time you insert something. The bottom level is contiguous, which makes range queries super cache-friendly. And each express lane pointer has a span value attached, tracking exactly how many nodes it skips. This allows Redis to calculate exact leaderboard ranks instantly, without having to scan the whole list.
And that brings us to a really core engineering insight. The creator of Redis specifically chose skiplists because they represent a very real-world philosophy: fast enough plus memory efficient over theoretical perfection. Balanced trees? Yeah, they look absolutely perfect on a whiteboard. But in actual memory, navigating all those pointers causes cache misses. Skiplists are practical, they're lean, and in the real world, they are blisteringly fast.
Section 4. The Operating System Trap. This is where things can get a little dangerous with copy on write.
Since Redis is an in-memory database, it eventually has to save that data down to a hard drive, right? Otherwise, if the power goes out, you lose everything. When Redis needs to create a snapshot, an RDB file, it doesn't stop the main thread. Instead, it uses an operating system feature called fork. It essentially creates a clone of itself. The child process writes the data to the disk, while the parent just keeps serving users. They share the exact same memory pages to save RAM. If a user actually changes a piece of data, the OS intercepts it, copies that specific page of memory, and lets the parent modify the copy. This is called copy on write, and it's brilliant. Usually.
But here is where the trap gets sprung. Imagine a background save is happening, and a user updates a counter. You are modifying exactly one single byte of data in memory.
If your Linux server has a feature called Transparent Huge Pages, or THP, enabled, and by the way, this is default on a lot of systems, memory isn't managed in standard 4 kilobyte pages. It's managed in massive 2 megabyte blocks. So to safely modify that 1 byte during a backup, the operating system is literally forced to pause the single Redis thread and physically copy 2 full megabytes of memory. If you're doing thousands of writes per second, this triggers massive RAM spikes and latency explosions. And that is exactly why tuning the OS is just as important as tuning your code.
All right, Section 5, Scaling Out with Redis Cluster.
So, how does a highly deterministic, single-threaded engine actually scale horizontally? Well, Redis Cluster doesn't use a slow proxy layer sitting in the middle. Instead, it mathematically splits your data into exactly 16,384 hash slots, distributed across multiple Redis nodes. Your client connects directly to those nodes. Now, if you ask Node A for a key that actually lives over on Node B, Node A instantly replies with a moved error, pointing the client to the right place. And what if you need to run an atomic operation on multiple keys, say a user's profile in their settings? You use hashtags. By putting curly braces around the user ID, like user42, Redis forces all of those keys into the exact same hash slot on the exact same single-threaded node, guaranteeing safety.
Finally, Section 6. Mastering Redis by avoiding some really common mistakes.
Developers accidentally freeze this high-performance engine in production all the time simply because they treat it like a magic black box. So here are the top performance killers you absolutely must avoid. Number 1, long Lewis scripts. Because Redis is single-threaded, a Lewis script executes atomically. If you write a complex script that takes, say, half a second to run, you have literally blocked every other user in the world from accessing the database for that half second. Number 2, no pipelining. If you send a command, wait for a reply, send another, wait again, you are just letting network latency kill your speed. Always batch your commands together. And number 3, ignoring Linux tuning. Like we just saw, leaving THP enabled or messing up your swap memory configuration will completely destroy Redis's brutal efficiency from the outside in.
Which really brings us to our final takeaway. Redis is so incredibly fast because it relentlessly removes overhead. It drops locks, it minimizes allocations with SDS, it uses practical probabilistic structures like skiplists, and it tightly integrates with the OS. Redis isn't just a cache, it is a masterpiece of systems engineering. So the question I want to leave you with today is this: are you treating Redis like a magic black box, or are you actually engineering with it? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this helps you unlock the full potential of this incredible tool.